Alright guys, so this is the second video out of 3.2b, so this has to do with example 3 and 4 in your notes. So the first thing that you need to fill in, here is my projectile formula, the same one that we've been dealing with in Math 102 and that we dealt with last section, or last chapter. However, the questions are going to be phrased a little differently, but the variables are still the same ones that we've been doing. So let's look at a question. So it says, a projectile is launched upward with a velocity of 288 feet per second from the top of a 65-foot platform. What is the maximum height attained by the projectile? So I see a projectile being launched upward with a velocity of 288. So the first thing I know is, all right, well, that velocity, that is my V0, my starting velocity. I'm also standing on top of a 65-foot platform, so that is my starting height, and Hawks calls it S0. Same thing as the H that we used before. What is different now is the question. So before, the questions would say, how long until it reaches the ground? So I was finding this thing over here. If you look at the bottom of my projectile, I was looking at when did it hit, how long. Now I am looking for what is the maximum height attained by the projectile. So now I'm not looking for when it lands, but instead I'm looking for at the top. I'm looking for the y value of the vertex. The reason is this is some point t and then s of t, t being the time. So when I find the first part of the vertex, that's actually how long until it's at the max height. It isn't until I plug that t back in that I find the actual height, because that's the y value associated with that time. So I'm going to find my formula and then do the vertex. So I have negative 16 t squared plus V0, which is the 288, plus S0, the starting height, which is 65. Take that thing, I'm going to find the vertex, so negative b over 2a, which will be negative 288 over 2 times negative 16. So I have negative 32 on the bottom. I'm going to type that thing into my calculator. Gives me 9. Okay, now 9, that's time. That's 9 seconds. So I shoot my projectile, whatever I'm throwing, a ball. I throw it up. After 9 seconds, it's going to be at the top of that projectile. It's going to be up here on the top. I want to find, though, how high is it. So that's the y value. So I'm going to take 9, and I'm going to plug it in back there. So I'm plugging it all the way in. And this is just going to be a matter of put it in your calculator. And then you should get out some numbers. So I'm going to type that thing in. And I get out 1,361. And again, what's my unit? Feet. So there is my final answer. So after 9 seconds, it will be 1,361 feet in the air.